short. On this 10th anniversary, it's the images of life that continue to endure, but it's the images of his untimely death that have us all wondering what might have been. We're joined now in the studio by Amy Palmer, senior editor for In Touch Weekly magazine. Talk about John Kennedy Jr. Why is there still people still drawn to him 10 years later? It's like Diana, Michael Jackson, going back, Elvis Presley, and so forth.
It's a legacy lost. JFK Jr. was America's son. He was somebody who everybody wanted to know. Was he going to run for president? Was he going to have children? We wanted to watch his life. So many people were invested in him and what he actually represented to America. He was really part of the Camelot era, which people still to this day absolutely think that was the pinnacle of America.
He was the last prince of the Camelot dynasty, as so many people have described it.
Absolutely, and that's why people were so invested in his future. They really wanted him to take over the reins that his father had left for him. You know, his father, met an untimely demise, and it's so sad that his son met the same fate.
But some said he really had disdain for politics, and then towards the end he was wavering and talking quietly to some people, as we heard from Hank Scheinkoff, about possibly running for the Senate in 2000. Do you think that would have been the route he would have followed?
I do. I think that he really needed to take some time to find his own path. I mean, let's think about the legacy that he was left. He was the son of one of the most famous people in the world. His mother was a style icon. Everybody was obsessed with his family. He needed to tell America, listen, I've got to do it my way. And he was just a regular guy. Sure, he grew up a privileged life, but he needed to find out who he was. And that is why it took him to the age of, 35, 36 to perhaps decide a political career was in his future.
Well, he walked a tightrope, really, between stardom and his private life. We saw him on the streets of New York riding his bicycle. You worked in the same building where he published George magazine. Did you ever see him there?
I did. I worked in the Paramount building, which is on Broadway between 50th and 51st Street. And he would be in the lobby, and yes, he's a very handsome man, but he had an aura about him, something that just people were drawn to him. And that's something that I'll never forget. And I think that's why people just, even though he was a regular guy, he just had this star quality about him.
And Hank Scheinkoff said it would have been politics. You think he would have pursued that, or a talk show host, or maybe go into acting?
I think that the world was his oyster. He could have done anything he wanted to do. But it seemed that towards the end of his life, he really was embracing his family's legacy. There are stories that people who were close to him have told where he would walk into a room and just put everyone at ease. He knew that he was the focus of every room he walked into, and he would kind of quell everybody's starstruck reaction to him, and that is really the telltale sign of a true politician. He had an amazing way with people, and I think that really we would have seen wonderful things from him.
But that was the same quality his father possessed. He just put people at ease. I remember the days when he ran for office, and he had that same quality. But also towards the end, there was talk about his marriage. He and Carolyn Bessette, they were married 3 years, and there was talk that there was a bit of turmoil in their marriage towards the end. Was that true?
I think that these reports, they're conflicting. Some people close to the couple said, yes, they're having problems, and then there were other people who said they were madly in love. Let's not forget, Carolyn Bessette lived her life for 33 years as somebody who never had to face the public, and then she was put in the spotlight, and she had to deal with the entire world looking at her as JFK Jr.'s wife. So there was a time that she really had to step back and say, who am I, and how am I going to embrace the public in a positive way and in a way of a role model?
She had a difficult time dealing with the public attention that was given him, the paparazzi always hounding them.
Absolutely, she did, and she really stepped back, and JFK Jr. did come to her defense and said, listen, I've had my whole life to deal with this. She's only had about 10 minutes. Can you please give her a break?
John Kennedy often lived life on the edge. It seemed most Kennedys did, and he took lots of risks. His mother did not want him to fly, and he deferred to her while she was alive, and after her death, that's when he took the flying lessons. It seemed most Kennedys just are risk takers, and he was in this case as well.
He certainly was, and it's so ironic that his mother did not want him in a plane. She was so adamant about that, and that's what led to his death. It's almost like she knew in some strange way. I think every mother knows their son, and she probably knew that he was a risk taker. It ran in the family, so she wanted to keep him safe, and unfortunately she was correct.
And the legacy, and this 10th anniversary really was marked without any fanfare, and there were no memorials, no shrines in front of his apartment building in Tribeca or elsewhere. There is no real site to remember John Kennedy Jr. at, except up near Hyannisport. How do you think Americans will continue to remember him and his legacy?
I think they keep him in their hearts. I think that he is still America's son. I think that he is somebody who America will always think about his potential in his life that was cut short, and I think that's how they will remember him.
And those images of the early days, of seeing him under the president's desk and seeing him saluting his assassinated father, those are the images that will always endure.
Absolutely. Those images are forever. They're a part of history, and they will never, ever, ever die.
Amy Palmer, it's always a pleasure to have you with us. Amy Palmer from In Touch magazine, thank you for looking back with us at the life and times of John F. Kennedy Jr.
Thanks for having me.
That'll do